Balogun mail address 12 Gun Street. Okay. Phone number 07. I just put something there, and then email at email.com. Now, this is my information. I can repeat it we can have thousands of this, right? And then let me create another one for transaction. So this is now my transactions. I'll just call it transaction instead of sales. Transactions. And here will be, I will have transaction, which I'll shorten to trans ID. I'll have the date. I will have the date. I will have the location. I will have the product. Okay. I will have the amount. Let me even do it. I will have the, yes, I will have the amount. Okay. I will have the tax. And then I'll have a tax. Yeah. Okay. Now I have the transaction ID as one. I have the date as today. Let me put in today. Today is 15/03/2025. I have the location. I just call it London. I have the product. Let me say pack of six. Pack of six. Six. And then it's Coca-Cola. Sorry, Coca-Cola can. Okay. Okay, and then the amount is let's say it's I just say £6. And the sales tax on that is 0.5%. Let's say what is the VAT on it? It's 20%, isn't it? So 20% of this will be, so that will be 10% is 60p, £1.20. 20. Okay, £1.20. Okay, so this is my transactions now, and this is my customer. But now it is Yinka that actually going to make this transaction to buy this. But Yinka, I cannot trace this back to Yinka, right? So I need something that will link this transaction to Yinka. Okay, and that is what brings me to what is called the primary key. The primary key in a table will have a primary key, and the primary key is a unique identifier, right? The unique identifier of a record or a group of record. Like this information is the group of my record that describes me, right? And it needs a unique identifier, because there can be 200 Yinka Baloguns. Like if you search on the internet now, you'll find so many Yinka Baloguns. There may be 200 Yinka Baloguns. So how do you identify that it is me out of the 200 that is referring to? And that is where you have the customer ID or customer key. Depends. You can hear it customer ID, you can hear it as customer key. So here I will have what is called the customer ID, which is what I'll call it here. In this case, I'll call this my customer key. It can be anything, but it has to be unique. Just like the people, for those of us who are in the United Kingdom, you have your national insurance, right? Your national insurance is unique to you. There's no two people that has the same national insurance number. One. Two, your phone number is unique to you. There's no two people that owns one phone number. Yes, you may share it with your wife, but there must be somebody's name that is registered to it. Okay, but because of that kind of ambiguity, we don't tend to use that. But what we tend to use is a great unique ID for you. Your national insurance is one, and then the system can generate customer ID for you as well. So in this case, let me just say I want to use customer, just to understand it, it's a C123. That's my ID. The next person, this can be C124. Whatever depends on how they want the business decides to create their unique ID. That is a customer reference in this case. So now this is my customer reference, right? And this is my transaction, which I've actually made at Tesco today. Now you need to link it back to me. Now what is going to happen is that this is the primary, is a primary key here. This ID is the primary key here. But for it to link back to this transaction, we have to create what is called the customer ID in this transactions table as well. In that case, it will bring my customer ID 123, right? In this case now, you see my customer ID is now here. My customer ID here, in here, let me highlight in blue, you can see that. My customer ID here, even make it red and make it bold so I can see it. My customer ID here is primary key. This is the resident home of this ID, the customer table. It's the unique identifier that identifies each record in this table. So it's called the primary key. It is called the primary key in this table. But when they are now begin to take this primary key to bring it to relate to another table, like in this case, the transactions table, here now, this primary key from customer is no longer a primary key here, it is called a foreign key. Okay, so here now, this customer ID is not primary key, but is a foreign key because it's foreign to this table. It is foreign to this table, right? So I will highlight it also in red and bold so you can see that. But let me even make it different so that you can know that it's a foreign key here. Let me use this blue, okay? So it's a foreign key here. But with this now, I can relate this row back to Yinka Balogun here. I can relate this row to transactions because of this. Because I have this, I've created this relationship between the two tables, right? I can see everything in this table from here. There's a way we write it in SQL, which I will show you. Okay, I can see everything, but without that, I cannot. There must be that relationship. So for your data, when we're talking about unstructured data, this is what happened with unstructured data. Unstructured data, you cannot relate it back. They are segmented, right? Because it's a journey in unstructured data. But you bring in the unstructured data into a structured environment, then you now model it so that you can now relate it back to structured data. Okay, that's the difference between structured and unstructured data. And why is this structured? Because this is structured into rows and columns. Unstructured data is structured into tags. They're tags, right? Like if you're familiar with website, when you download website, you see this, the tags there. Okay, so a table or a database is a collection of related data that has primary keys and foreign keys. Okay. Now, this data here, which is what I showed you, you can see here I have the carrier ID and I have the pillar and I have the class. These are foreign keys from another table, but I'll just relate it back to one table which I have here, which is the plan data here. For each of these carrier here, and this, right? For me to relate to find the figures for their plan, which is the budget for the year, right? You can see I have the carrier and the, right? But this is also pivoted, right? And I can use it, but when I want to take it into to do deep analysis, I cannot use it this way. I have to transform this data. Okay. And I will be giving you stuff like this to do. You will transform your data, load it into you'll create your database, you'll create your tables and everything, and you will transform your data, and then you will now begin to model it for preparation to be used in Power BI. Okay. Now, the reason why I've asked, or we've asked you for a laptop which has minimum of 8 gig RAM is because you're going to be installing SQL Server, SQL Server. We'll share the link with you when the WhatsApp group is ready. So let me quickly open my SQL Server. Okay, you can see this. Let me see if I can show you that. Okay. No, it's not showing me because I'm not on the main. I'm not sharing from the main screen because I have multiple screens here. Okay, but you can see this icon. That is the icon for my SQL Server. Okay, and I bring it up. Should be up now. Okay, this is my SQL Server. And my SQL Server is now it's a relational database engine. SQL Server is a relational database engine. Understand? I'm repeating that is a relational database engine. Relational database engine. Okay. And you can create as many depending on the size of your data or your server. In this case, I've installed it really on my laptop. But normally in commercial environment, which is in a business environment, it's not installed on your laptop. It's actually installed on a server. But these days also you have Azure SQL Server, so database. So it can be in a data center somewhere, anywhere around the world. If you're on them in the cloud, Azure. Okay. The good thing is that you can connect to Azure databases where I used to have Azure, but I didn't subscribe to it anymore. And here you can see, it says data. What is SQL Server contains? It contains your database engine, it contains analysis services, it contains integration services. Integration services is just the tool, Microsoft tool, on-premise, let me put it that way, on-premise tool for data ingestion. Okay? I can have data coming in from different sources, and I can use SSIS, which is SQL Server Integration Services, to create SQL Server SSIS packages that will ingest the data from source to destination for me. But when you're looking at it on the Azure side, it is called the ADF, which is Azure Data Factory. You have your your data source and your sink in Azure Data Factory. It's not called destination, it's called source and sink in Azure. Okay. And then you have your reporting services, which is SSRS. And then here you have what is called the Azure Storage, which is an ADLS, which is Azure data. Sorry, Azure Storage, which is Azure Blob. You subscribe to that in Azure, and then you have here you have Azure SSIS. And Azure SSIS is just you can take your on-prem, which is your on-prem Azure, sorry, SSIS, and then you can deploy it to Azure, and then you can use it. Okay, but rather than and it's just a stopgap between people who are on-prem and who are trying to transition into Azure, so that you can bring your package instead of having to rebuild it from scratch. You can actually move it into Azure and you can continue to use it there. But then there's limitations. So rather you just have to rebuild it completely. Like my workplace now, we are actually transitioning from on-prem, we're going to Azure. Okay, right. Then what we're going to be looking at majorly is here is the database engine. Okay, and here in my database engine, which I've connected to, I have my databases, and you can see a few databases which I have here. Um, Here we have what is called the system databases, which we're not going to be doing anything, is the standard default databases that comes with every SQL server installation. And they are the databases that actually run the SQL engine, SQL Server engine. They're the databases that runs it. So it says system databases. You don't do anything with them, I'm just telling you. And then you can create snapshot databases, which is you can take a screenshot. It's more like a screenshot. You just take a snapshot as at today. You take your data and that's data snapshot, and then you can put that in there. When you can use that for reporting. Say for those who are used to financial reporting, you take an instance which is as at this day. This is the cutoff date. So you can do a cutoff of that, your database, and put it there so that it's not progressing forward, because as the business continues every day, there's more data written into the main databases, but you don't want that to happen. You just take a screenshot and put it there, and you can use it for your financial reporting and other stuff like that. And then you have a data warehouse configuration table database. We don't need that. We don't need anything DW here. We don't worry about that. These ones are the ones which are created, okay? And we're going to be using the Northwind for our class. This is a database, and you can see here we have in a database, we have tables. Those are the structures within your database. You have tables, you have views. We have what is called functions and stored procedures, and we have so many other things which I'll not be going into. I won't want to scare anyone, but the ones we'll be dealing with majorly in this training will be our tables, and we'll be dealing with our views as well. Tables are physical structures, or right, that hold data. Physical structures that hold data. Okay, I will expand on that shortly. And then your views are also they have the same characteristics as tables, but they don't hold data. They only hold what is called the metadata. And when that view is called, as we'll say, and when that view is called, it goes into the underlying tables and fetch the data which you have stitched together with the metadata through the metadata and present that the result set to you. Okay, so I described the customer table earlier. If I come in here now, expand on that, you can see my tables within my database. So these are the tables which I have. They are physical tables, and I can query them. They currently hold data, and I can query them. Okay, but when you look at it, the table which we're looking at, just like I've described with Excel earlier, if I expand this table, which is customer, just because I did customer, I expand on it, then you find what is called the columns, just like we have in our Excel. You know, we have columns and rows, but in database, you don't worry about the rows, you worry about the columns, because these are the description of your data. They're the metadata, they are the description of your data. And what metadata means is that the data that describes the data that is holding. So like now in the Excel, you remember I have the first name, right? That is a column. What you are expecting to find in that column will be a first name, not a first number. Okay? And then when you have the last name, you expect to find the name there to not number. Okay? And now brings me to when I now expand on this, it comes with you can see here when I have the customer ID earlier, you can see my customer ID, and you can see the PK next to it. PK stands for primary key. PK stands for primary key. Okay? Now, I have my primary key and I have the other columns as well in this table. But you can see some other things which are next to it. Like you have the PK nchar 5, not null, right? When you are designing a table or you are creating a table, you have to specify this information. I'll come back to the Excel. I'll come back to the Excel and come back to customer here. You can see my primary key here. It's a mixture of character and numbers, right? It's a mixture of character and number. And you can see my phone number here. It's a mixture, it's numbers rather. Okay. In data analysis or in databases, you need to define your data. And what do I mean by that? You can see where you have the phone number there. That phone number to you is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is numbers. But in appearance, it is numbers, but in storage, it may not be stored as numbers. It may be stored as a string, which is also character. It may be stored as a string, which is also character. And that is why when you are creating a table, you need to define the properties of your column. Okay, look at this now. It's showing me as, yes, this is supposed to be numbers because in here in Excel, it's showing me it's a number, it's general, but I can select in here and change it to text. The only difference is that you see that is moved from right to left, which is when the data is in Excel, when it's on the right, it's a numeric number is on the right, then it means that it's numeric. But when it's on the right, starting from the right, I'm sorry, when it's starting from the left, rather, it is not numeric anymore. When you try to, in database, when you try to apply aggregation, which is like you apply addition or subtraction to a text number, it will fail. It will throw you an error. It will throw you an error. So that is why when you're creating your database, you have to specify the properties of that the data that will be holding, and that's what we call data types. I will talk about data types in full next week, okay? But it's called data types, okay? So here, coming back here, and that is what we have done here. So it says nvarchar. Nvarchar actually means it's a non sorry, what's it? Sorry. Oh, go. Oh, I've forgotten this. But it's telling me that it's a character. Right? I will remember what the N stands for. just skip my mind now. So n varchar means that is oh, and this is actually to define, because when you're even talking about
it means a non-variable char.
Not just non-variable, there's another thing, ma, right?
Okay.
There's another thing, which is to define. You can see, okay, you see the Chinese character letters, right? And the English character, okay? The Chinese one, non-Unicode. Yes, non-Unicode. English is Unicode, and then any other one is non-Unicode. So non-Unicode character, right? Meaning that it can take, when it's n char like it is, it can take both Unicode and non-Unicode. But if it's just char, that means it's a Unicode, which is can only take English alphabets. It will not take even the French alphabet. You know, the alphabet has hyphen on them and all the signs on them. It will not take that. Okay, and because of the integration in business, like my company now, we have American, we have French. We normally will use the N varchar or N varchar or nchar, because why? French or any other country's alphabet can come in there. If you just restrict it to the Unicode character, if you bring in non Unicode character, it's going to throw an error. Okay, so we have to define all this, and the number you see there is telling me the byte size that column will, the maximum byte 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 size for that column. Because why? Space is also of an essence. Though now this space is cheap because of the advent of big memory storage. So, but previously space was of an essence. So you have to specify, because if you don't, then you will have empty space. Say for example, like I've written these 6 numbers, but I've not specified. Probably I'll specify 100 for it, right? And it's only occupying 50. The engine will reserve 100 byte sites for this column, and you don't want to waste that. So you have to specify. Sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible as well. So you have varchar and varchar, and the other data type we have is, we have the character and we have the string. But then the character and the string also, there is a lot of variance between them, which I will show you next week, right? So you create your tables, and your table stores your information. Like I said, category. So if you look at this table, we have the customer ID, you have the company name, which is actually supposed to be the customer as well. You have the contact name, the contact title, address, city, region, postcode, country, phone number, fax, and email. These are all properties that describes, sorry, Jide, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Please, people are sending messages. Can you just go through?
Okay, sir.
Yeah, thank you. So all these are what will hold your information. So now if I want to see the data, there's data in this table. If I want to see the data here, I can't see it. I need something to interrogate this to bring the data back to me. And that is where your T-SQL comes in. Your T-SQL means transactional SQL, right? And we have different types of SQL as well. We have the T-SQL, which is for SQL Server. We have the PL SQL, which is for Oracle. Okay. We also have another variant of T-SQL, which is for DB2 servers. And also, IBM has bought this one over, so it is called Netezza. It's also another database provider, but it's now been integrated into IBM. So, and then you have your T-SQL for MySQL, which is a bit different from the normal T-SQL as well. And then you have the Postgres SQL as well. Okay. And then these days also we have what is called NoSQL as well. There's a database which is called NoSQL as well. Okay. So our T-SQL is just a programming language that is used to interact with SQL Server databases. It's a programming language that is used to interact with SQL Server data programming language. And it starts with this. I have this table now. There's data in it. And I want to see the data that is in it. Okay? And what it is that I have to provide the prompt or the syntax that the engine understands and can interpret, and then it will respond to that by returning back to me a result set. When you install your SQL Server, right, like I have SQL Server on here, I cannot interact with it directly. I have to interact with it via what is called, and this software I'm using is called SQL Server Management Studio. It connects to my SQL Server in the back end. The SQL Server, when I install it, is not, it's in machine language, which I don't understand, which you don't understand. But we now have a plugin which will plug into it, which is, you can see where it says we're connecting to the SQL Server. And this SSMS now connects to it, and then we can interact with the SQL Server engine. Now, I now have to provide some instructions via my screen here to interact with the data that is actually resident in my SQL Server engine. Okay, now before I go further, a database, I always tell people, look at it like a warehouse, a big house. Okay, and you have a big house or warehouse. There is a main door, the front door, that you can use to access the house. And when you get into the house, the house, it can be in any shape or form. And the rooms that are now in the house, that you find in the house, they're now your tables. The rooms in the house, they're your tables. So you look at the database as a house, and a house has one or many rooms. So a database will have at least, no, a database may not even have, when you first create it, may not even have any, well, we'll have the system tables that comes with it, just like you see here, the system tables and all this one, they come with it. But your own table or anything may not be there in the first place. Then you are now the one that will now say, okay, I want to cut this side. This is room 1. That side, that is room 2, that is room 3. So this is table 1, that is table 2, that's table 3, then you begin to create. Okay? So that's the way you always look at it. Now, you have the rooms, but for you to talk to the room, you need a door to talk to the room. To access the room, you need a door to access the room, because, right, it's just not going to be an open room. There is a door. And that is why you're plugging in your SSMS. Your SSMS is plugged into it, and then you can now see what is in the room. And for you to see what is in the room, you have to put on the light, which is now your SQL syntax. So like this table now, I want to interact with it. I can do so many things. The first instruction when you want to interact with your data in your table is you use the keyword select. Select means go and fetch for me. It means go and fetch for me. Okay? But now, go and fetch for me. You only say go and fetch for me. What is it going to fetch for you? And where is it going to fetch it from? So here I have my table, my column names. I will now list my columns. So in this case, I'll say customer ID, comma. You are separating each properties of that table that you want to see. In this case, I want to see the customer ID is a property. I'll say, I want to see another property. I want to see the customer, the company name as it is written here, company name. And also, it's not case sensitive, but I'm just used to writing it in the case sensitive way, or it makes it more decent. I want to see the contact name, another command to separate it. And then I want to see the address, right? You can see the other ones that I've listed, they did not come in blue, but address is coming in blue. Any word that you write in SQL and it returns back to you in blue means it's a reserved word, right? Is a reserved word. Like select, you see, is a reserved word. If I don't want it to come in blue, I will put a square bracket around it. That means I've said, look, it's not your reserved word that I mean, though you should still work without me putting that, but it's not your reserved word that I mean, but it is my own property, which is called address. Okay, but just to let you know, when you see any word that comes out in blue, is a reserved word. Okay, and then what do I want to see next? Let me see the city. Okay, and then let me see the region. Comma again. And then you can put your comma. Where you place your comma is irrelevant. I'm just used to the right side. It makes it different, but you can put your comma from the left as well. But if you're going to put your comma from the left, it will not start from here. It will start from the second row, because it's just like you're bringing this one here. And then this one, you bring it here. And this one, you bring it here. And this one, you bring it there. And this one, you bring it there. Okay? So you're not going to start from here if you're doing it from the left. But if you're doing it from the right, you start from here. But the difference is, you see, it's still, but when I get to the last one, because I'm putting my comma on the left, sorry, on the right, when I'm putting when I get to the last one, then it will not need a comma. But when I'm starting from the left, the first one will not have comma, but up to the last one it will have. I will show you just briefly. Let me type the last one. So I want to see country as well. Let me put country as my last one. Country. So I want to see all these columns. I'll now have to tell it, okay, this is the things I want to see. But from which table? Because I have so many tables here. From which table? I have to now specify another keyword, which is called from. I'm not telling it, okay, the from is now to tell it the table that I want this data for I want it to interrogate to bring me the result set. And in this case, it is the customer table. So I'll type in the DBO and then customers. And you can see it's bought it for me, customers. Okay. Well, you can see, like I said earlier, the last one do not have the comma because I'm doing it from the right. If I change, let me remove all this and then do it from the left for you to see. If I'm doing it from the left, I have to do it from here. I'll do this, this, this. All you have to do is just translate this, take this one. If you want to do it from the right, you just take this one, put it to the first, and then all like that, and you find that it will end here. Okay, it's the same thing from the one I wrote before. It's the same thing. So I've told it, I want all these columns returned. So I do execute. What is happening? Oh, sorry. Now, another thing which you have to be mindful of is that because I have so many databases already in here, I have to specify which of the databases as well I want it to interrogate. And you can see here, it's saying master. I remember when I showed you earlier, when I have the system databases, you can see that's the master. That's not the table, that's not the database I want to interrogate. I want to interrogate this NotWin database. So I have to change here. When I click in here, and then I click, and then I can say, come and select my database like that. If I don't want to do that, I can use another way, which is I'll just come in here and I type use, and I'll type in the name of the database I want it to use NotWin. You can see it's brought it up for me. Use NotWin. So even if I change it to master like this, it will still work because now it's disregarding this and it's focused on this. So if I say use master and I put a column like this, that's the end of a statement. If I execute this, it will return back to me a result set. And you can see now. Now you can see what I described in Excel earlier. You can see here, I have the customer ID. And you can see here, it shows me that it's the primary key. But for you to see, I can expand on it and then you can see here, it says keys. If I open this one, it will tell me my primary key. You can see there's a key sign there and PK, which means primary key. It said this is my primary key. Customer is has a primary key and that's my primary, and that's the key. And that's why this column has the key sign. And then also notice that the key sign here, the head of the key is facing inward. That means if you see the head of the key facing inward, it indicates that is the primary key, that column is a primary key. If the head of the key is, let me go to another table where I have a relationship. I know it's, you can see here that I have the foreign key and the customer ID here as well. But here, the customer ID is a foreign key. And here you can see it says FK. It says FK. FK means foreign key. And you can see that the key is not dark, it's light in color, and the head is facing outward. That is, when you see this, you know that it's a foreign key in that table. This column is a foreign key in that table. So this table, which is the others table, which is the transactions table, has relationship to the customer table, it has relationship to the employee table, and it has relationship to the shippers table. Okay, so this is how you will interact with your table. And now, for you to see what I mean, if I want to now see, I have this customer, let's take this customer ID. I'll take it out. I'll place it there just for you to see. And then I'll go to do a select. Select, I'll cheat now. You can always do this. You don't have to type it out. You can just click on it and drag. And then once I do this, you will see what's going to be happening next. It will always fall in place for me. And I want to see this. I want to see others. It's not working here. I want to see this. I've done the reship dates. I want to do the ship there. Okay, you can always do this, or I can cheat as well in another way. And the way to cheat in that case is just click on that, right click on your mouse, right click, and then it brings out this other menu. Okay, and when it brings up this other menu, you just go to, I can either do select top 1000, which is going to open another window for me. If I don't want to do that, I can come in here, say script, and then I click on select, and then it comes up here, and then I can click on this one. When I click on this, it's going to open another window, or I can click here and it will open, put it into a file, but I don't want that. I'll just click and say copy to clipboard. Copying to clipboard is copied it, and I can come here and I can paste it. So instead of me having to write it out, it's already done it for me. Okay. So let me okay, copy, minimize that. So now I have this, you can see, and I have that and the others table. If I execute, it's going to bring me two tables. So you can see my other table, and then you can see my customer ID. But now I want to look for this customer ID. I'm jumping here, but I'll go through it much deeper later. I want to see this customer ID from this table. So I will use another keyword here. And this keyword will now apply a filter. I want to apply a filter to the table, because if I run this, just let me run this alone, it's going to return to me, I think it's about 900 and something rebels. I'm waiting for that. Okay, 831. You can see the bottom here. That's the number of rows that is returned. That's the number of rows that is in this table as we speak. So 831 rows. So now I want to see for that customer ID, this customer ID. So I will now apply another keyword here, say where, and this where is a filter keyword. I want to filter. Where, now what I want is the customer ID. So I'll say customer ID, right, equals, I have to put it in, excuse me, open apostrophe there, and I can now execute this as well. So execute, that customer do not have any transaction in that table. That customer has not placed any order. That is what it means. Let's look for another customer that has placed order. Why is this slow? This is slow. Yeah, these are the ones I created. Okay, let's use these ones. I know, yeah, the system that came with the database. So let's use this customer instead. I changed that to this customer. And you can see here, where's my cursor? You can see here, it's just that customer. It has filtered for it. And this is all the transactions or all the orders this customer has ever placed. And you can see the date and time and the items which this customer has purchased as well. Okay, these are the items or the orders this customer has purchased. And you can see all the information there. Now, you look at it, this customer, and you can see there's a relationship. So at every point in time when this customer was placing orders, right, this is the, what's it called? This is the ID of the employee that actually took the order from this customer. So now if I want to see the employee, I can go from here to the employees table as well to see what is happening there. And this is what you cannot do with Excel, because Excel do not have that relationship. The worksheets, they are separate from each other. Yes, you can use lookup and VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, but it is not the same with having this direct relationship that you can interact with. And with this, I'm going to show you also how you can now take data from multiple tables and create a data set to answer a question. Okay, so let's look at from here. You know, we started from customer here, right? Even this table, I can now filter for that customer, just that customer. I put my where clause also here because it's the same customer ID, and you will see it's just going to refill. So now I filter that these two tables. Now I want to see all these employees that have attended to this customer. So I will just let me quickly do another cheat. Employees table, let me do a cheat here as well. Let's copy to clipboard. I'll paste it here as well. But now, because I have more than one employee that has attended to this customer, or let's look at just this one, the one with 4. Let's look for one because I don't want to jump in what I'm teaching you. So I want to see that employee where employee ID, it will bring it up because it knows I'm already defined the table. Employee ID equals, now this is where the data type matters. Let me see what the employee column is. Employee ID is int, which is number. So where employee ID equals 4. If the employee ID column is not numbers, which in this case is int, sorry, employee ID here, where's that? Oh, here. Okay, is int. Is not, then this 4, if this 4 was actually stored as a string or a character in the database, then I have to put this column around it. Okay, but because it's a number, I don't need to put anything around it. So now you will see a filter. Now I'm now going to have 3 tables. And then you can see that employee. You can see the details of that employee. But you can see one which I want to say is that I have come from customer. I went into what? Orders table. And from orders table, I can go into the employees table. There is no direct relationship between customer and employee. I have to come from customer to orders. And then from orders, I can now from orders go into the employee table. So that relationship it allows you to directly or indirectly interact with other tables as well. I will be taking you into what is called joins. Joins. We have inner join, we have left join, we have right join, and we have cross apply and all the stuff like that. So we're going to be looking at that as well. Because why? You have database is big and you need to bring data from multiple tables into one to answer a question. Because what is business analytics? You're answering a question, a business question. You're answering a business question. So for you to be able to answer this, you have to do all this. So you have to write your script, right? And you can bring that together. Let me show you one of my scripts, which I'm building. It's another one. So this table, okay, now I'm building something here. I'm working on something, but you can see, right? I'm joining things together. And that is what we call a query. I think I have someone which is even bigger. Where is that? Okay, this one is a bit bigger. I'm doing some other things here. You can see. I have written script which is over 5,000 rows, lines rather. So you can see the numbers. Right? Over 5,000 for a report. So I will be introducing you to things like this. So go along. So just whetting your appetite. So let's get ready. I won't be going any further for today. But please, next week, get your laptop ready. We'll find time. I will send you, once the WhatsApp group is created, I will send you links to download the software that is required for my side, and Jide will also do the same. And I'll also send you a video of how to install your SQL Server and your SSMS. Download and install your SQL Server and SSMS on your local machine so that we can all get our hands dirty. Okay? And because we have so many accountants here, I'm thinking of probably the coursework I'm going to give you is going to focus on either management reporting or is going to focus on a balance sheet. I don't know yet. I will decide. Okay? So that you work with data that you are familiar with. Okay? All right. Any questions for me today? Jide, you can stop the recording.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah. Please. Last week I didn't join the class, so how do I get to join the WhatsApp group? Because I don't know what.
Did you register?
Yes, I registered.
You registered. Okay,
Yeah.
send the email back to the school admin. You see from the email address that you got the invite from.
Yeah.
Respond back to them to please that and explain to the school admin, then they will look into it.
Okay.
Because they are the ones that will set up the WhatsApp, not me or
Yeah.
Jide. Okay. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. Davina, are you still raising up your hand or is it from previous?
Yes, sir. I'm raising up my hand, please.
Okay, ma.
You said you would do something in balance sheet, but I'm not like geared towards accounting, so I will be
No, it
glad
doesn't
if
matter. I'm just going to use that because some of it's just the
yeah,
same. I'm
I
not
was
an
getting
accountant too,
scared
but
because when I heard
yes,
that
yeah,
balance
you would.
sheet, though I did accounting
No,
in
no,
my
don't worry.
yeah, all right, okay, cheers,
No,
thank you,
they're
sir.
it's just for you to it's just a figure the information that you will see there that is just accounting, nothing more. You
All
as a
right,
data engineer or data analyst, it doesn't matter to you. What it matters is the data, right?
okay, sir, thank you.
What profit and loss means, I don't want to know. All I have
All
to know is
right,
that this data I minus this from this and other stuff like that. They will give you the
okay,
logic. Yeah,
sir. All right, sir,
no
thank
worries.
you. Yeah.
Yes, Ngozi.
Yeah, thank you so much for the taster. I was just thinking of are you going to take us through how to remove errors from data that is in Excel and how to migrate it into SQL?
I won't teach you Excel. No.
At
This
all?
class
Okay.
is no, it is more of Power BI. SQL. But what it is that I will show you how you can take the data from Excel,
Yeah.
put it into SQL, create a
Okay.
table and put it into SQL, do your cleansing or whatever you want to do or transformation, and you can return it back to Excel.
Okay, so you don't need to clean it in Excel first. You can move it.
When you say cleanse, there's
Data.
it's
Yeah.
no. When you say cleanse, what aspect of cleanse do you mean?
I mean, like removing missing checking for missing values, numbers, gaps, things that could make that could cause problems if you wanted to analyze the data in Excel. Because I've had that experience when I was working many years ago where they said to find the errors in this data before we move it to another platform.
Well, like I said, I don't touch Excel. The only thing I do with Excel is just data comes in the data I'm going to give you for your practical coursework is going to come in Excel. But
Okay.
I'm going to show you how you're going to move data from Excel. One of the ways, rather, one or two ways of moving it. Move it from Excel into SQL database or table, and then you can do whatever you want to do in there.
Okay.
Right, and then you can return it. You can export it back to Excel if you want, or you
Okay.
can use it, for your reporting from there as well, from SQL
All right.
straight away.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for today.
No worries. Mr. Jinyobola. You're muted. You're muted. You're still muted. It's still showing, yeah. We can't hear you. Okay, now you're back.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much for today, sir.
You're welcome, sir.
You mentioned the types of data when we started, unstructured and structured data. Where does qualitative data and quantitative data come in?
Qualitative data and quantitative data is in structured.
Okay.
Right, is in structured, is what we're doing, what I'm showing you. You see, unstructured data, let me give you a bit of insight into that. You see, you know Amazon, for example.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You log into Amazon. Say, for example, you want to get into Amazon. You now type in on your browser, you type in Amazon, right? .com or .co.uk, whichever one it is. You type in Amazon, it brings you a list of results, and then you click on the link. From the link, you go into Amazon and you begin to do your shopping, and you place one or two items in the basket. I said, look, I'm not buying again. You left it and you went away. Right? Your journey from when you type in Amazon on your browser is captured.
Okay.
Right?
Yes,
and
sir.
it's stored up to the point where you left it.
Okay.
Amazon goes, take that data, right? Do some analytics on it, right? And then you find out that the product, the next time you log in or you're even on your Facebook or whatever, you find out that the product that you actually put in basket in Amazon, they are flashing back on you, right? You don't look at it, why? I'm not in this, but it's Amazon because why? They put tags in your browser that has followed you. Okay?
Okay.
But that data now, Amazon, because you did not log in, Amazon do not know you.
Okay.
Okay? So they cannot relate that data back to their database and say, oh, this is Mr. Jinyobola.
Okay.
That is why it's unstructured. It's only showed your journey. It said, okay, you move from browser to this page, to that page, to this page. You put this in the basket and you left it there.
Okay.
Right? Okay. In analytics, we get that data as well, and we'll call it we'll create what is, when we're doing analytics, we do what is called the funnel. The funnel is 200 million people may have gone to visit Amazon sites today, right? But out of these 200 million, how many dropped off after page 1? How many dropped off after page 2? How many dropped off after, how many got to the end of it and what's it called? Completed a transaction.
Okay.
Amazon will now use that data. The ones that completed the transaction, they're good. They can link back to structured data. But the one that did not complete their thing and did not log in, Amazon will now begin to follow you about. Okay. That is what is called analytics. Okay. And data science. Okay. Because the data scientists will create the model for them to look at it. Okay. Yes. Kende.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Yeah, just a quick question. I just want to, I think you quite mentioned it last week that the requirement for this class, you recommend a Windows laptop.
Laptop, yeah.
However, I have got a Mac and I tried to research the best way to have like SQL Server on it. So I have like Azure Data Studio, now run a Docker to be able to run SQL Server. So, but I don't know the limitation of that application because I've not worked with it before.
Yeah, Azure Data Studio is lightweight. It's not the same thing as the SSMS. Azure Data Studio will also want to link you back. You can connect it back to your database, but you still need that database. So with the Azure Data Studio, you can't, like the database I'm going to go, which is this one, not Wind, you cannot install it there. But I will reach out to one of our ex-students, who I was trying to call in last week, Koblo. When he was in class, he also was on Mac, right? And he was able to help his the other people. So and he's been in a class last one too because he's done it about 2 sessions ago. If he's available because he's busy at work now, he's got a job now. So if he's available, I will ask him to come on next week if he can, and then he will be able. You can liaise with him. He will be able to help you.
All right. So thank you, sir. Even if he's not available, we can send. If he can just send in instructions and you can pass it around, I can try to.
Yeah, I would. I will say to you. I will see what he can. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Or if not, if he didn't give the instruction, if he allows me to share his number, then I can.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, Oluwaseun.
Yeah, well done, sir. Please, you were talking about WhatsApp group when the lecture was on. So I just want to ask if the WhatsApp group has been created because
No, it's not been created.
Okay, I had to
It's not
send mail to the school admin yesterday before I was sent on Thursday. So I was now sent this Zoom link because I didn't get any registration details at all before. I was in the class last week. So
Yeah, no worries. They will create the WhatsApp group and they will share it. So they will see, they, like I said, they will, I'm getting the feedback.
Yes.
Don't know why. Anyway, so they will create a WhatsApp group and they will share it. And I think they said they will send it via email so that it's a link and then you can click and then.
okay.
All right. Okay. Mr. Barnabas.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir.
Why is that having the feedback?
It's disturbing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Please,
So
anybody who
should
is
be
not
muted.
talking, sorry. Anybody who's not talking, please can you mute? Okay, Mr. Barnabas, you can unmute yourself now.
Yes. Yeah, so I also have a Mac laptop. So just like the other brother asked. So like he said, if you try to reach out to the brother, you said you will reach out to, and if there's any information to be passed around, maybe you just, I don't know
Yeah,
how
I will. Yeah, sure. I will.
I don't know how you can pass
And
it
also,
around to
what I
us.
will also
Problem.
do is once the WhatsApp group is created, I can add him to the WhatsApp group if he's going to be available. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Simisola.
Yeah. Good evening, Senga.
Good
evening,
evening.
everyone. Thank you for this privilege. It's really a honor for me, and I don't take it for granted. Actually, I've been having some bit of challenge with my network. I was just through in and out, but it's a bit stable now. So I was wondering.
It's not very clear, ma. Hello.
Hello,
I'm not
can you
hearing
hear
you
me?
well. Okay, I can hear you better now. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I was the one that requested that maybe the video for today should be sent so that we can do a recap because, like I said, my network was really acting up seriously, and I've been thrown in and out several times, so I really couldn't clean up one or two things that you have said. But I hope to sit with it one and go through if I could get the video. Then number two, I was also to ask that, is it possible, because I noticed that each time I was trying to come in, it was delayed in the waiting room. I was trying to use my laptop, two laptops, use my phone, just trying to see which one will connect. So sometimes when you're working like that, maybe, is it possible for me to use two laptops? I'll be allowed in so that while you're working on one, I can also be following with the practical setup. The practical steps as you go along on the other. Would that be allowed? Thank you.
You can. You can use two laptops. Yeah, you can. But the video is going to be shared. I don't know if Jide is still on. Yeah, Jide. I think he's left. Okay. Normally, if Jide was to be in class, now I will have just asked him because, like I said, it's a YouTube channel because we don't want to be sending video to so many people. Yeah, and then sometimes the size of the video you can't send it via WhatsApp. Because of the size. So that's why we decided to create the YouTube channel. So let me see if I can find the name. Let me see if I can.
You can send the link.
Yes. Yeah, I'm trying to find the name because I don't know the name of the YouTube channel. I must be frank. YouTube. Where is that? Okay. While I'm talking, who else? Who else has a question? While I'm doing that.
I'm raising my hand, sir.
Yes, please. Yes, talk.
Um, so I noticed like you used quite a very extensive you use extensive vocabulary, and for those of us that are newbies in tech, like what would you recommend for us to catch up as soon as possible so that we don't feel lost when you're when you're teaching? I do understand that most people have a background already in IT, but for those of us that are like newbies, like would you recommend materials that can get us up to speed so that we are not lost when you are using certain words? Thank you, sir.
Sincerely, there is no material. That is why I'm using the vocabulary, and that is the language of the industry. Okay, so what I can say here is that if you don't understand a word or something that I say in the course of the class, because then you are going to meet another set of vocabulary when you go into the big data side of things as well. So you just you ask the question, what does this mean? Okay, and then I can explain to you in the layman's term.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Okay, but if when it's the continuous use and hearing of this that will help you. You have to. So one thing about the industry is that you have to speak the language, which is like I was just explaining. If you there's something, let me just give you a little bit of idea. Somebody who, which I will show you maybe next week, is you see when I was interrogating my table, they select. There's a shorter way for me to do it, which is instead of if I want to list all the columns, and it's using select, then I use the sign, which is the star, more like the star, which is the multiplication sign that is on the um what's the key for eight, figure 8, you say that star. So it's called select star from, okay? Select star from, and then I'll give my table. But this person, when they were teaching, I don't know who taught this person. We interviewed this person and was able to speak, answer the questions correctly. Oh, we thought, oh, this person has got the experience of what we're looking for. And we gave the person the opportunity. And when he resumed, he gave him some work to do and he was writing select instead of, because they were explaining select star. So he just went in and typed it and wrote select, then wrote the word star from. We look at it, oh, this person doesn't know what he is doing. And that was the end of the person. So please, even for those who, if I use keywords or if I use word or vocabulary that you don't understand what it means, please raise up your hands or speak, because sometimes when you raise up, I may not see because I'm facing the screen. Unmute yourself, call my attention. Well, excuse me, sir, what is this? And I will explain to you. Okay?
Thank you very much, sir. Will do.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. I think I found the site, the YouTube channel, so I will share it in the comment in the chat now. Let me see, where's my chat?